Hello everyone. Welcome to one more session on machine learning. And today we are going to talk about data modeling. Data modeling using machine learning. Machine learning is one of the most buzzwords of the century, where not only organizations but people are or candidates are just crazy about machine learning. Organizations are really crazy to hire candidates who knows machine learning. Let's talk about what is an algorithm. An algorithm is a set of rules which will give you an output based on the given input. Suppose you have an input and you use that algorithm to get an output. It is a program which helps you create equation, it can create a function, and based on that, so that is what an algorithm. It's the smart technique or smart function which it uses based on the input. It will give you a solution, it will give you the prediction. That's what an algorithm. There are lots of different algorithms. There are algorithms like regression, logistic regression, linear regression, there is random forest, there is naive bayes, there is neural network, name anything. There are lots of different algorithms which are in there, and the library sklearn library is one of the source where you can import these algorithms and use it in your models. Now let's talk about what are the different type of models which is available to us. There are two types of models which we have. One is a regression problem, one is a classification problem. There are two ways where we get a solution. One is when you are predicting a number. Suppose we want to know what is the GDP of India is going to be in, let's say, 2021. Okay, suppose what if I want to know what is the population of my country is going to be, or what the expenditure of of myself is going to be, or what is the temperature of a particular day is going to be. So whenever we are dealing with numbers, or when we are concerned with numbers, when we want to know what is the temperature or what, when we are talking about any numeric prediction, that is called a regression. And whenever, and the other way, when we are dealing with, we want to know whether it's going to be a yes or no, or whether it's going to be team A or team B, or it's going to be answer in hot or cold. So in any, when we are getting an option and we are doing the prediction, that is called a classification problem. So based on these two different problems, you can see a lot of things going on. That's the base based on which the entire solution or the entire industry is based on. Like when we are doing a log analysis, the output that you are getting is whether your system is going to fail or not in yes or no. Suppose when you are doing a prediction of whether a customer is going to be a defaulter or not, again you are doing it in a yes or a no. Suppose we are going to be a retail industry, you're going to target how much what's the optimum temperature that's required for that chemical composition that you must put in to get the best possible product. So there we talk about regression, when because we need the amount of quantity. Okay, so these are only the two base things based on which the entire data modeling is built on. So for any kind of solution, we have got two different type of solution. One is regression, the one is classification. In regression we deal with numbers, and in classification we deal with category. Based on this graph, you can explain what regression and a classification is going to be. In regression we have what is my temperature is going to be, or what is my income is going to be. So you get a straight line because here but when I talk about a classification, I won't have any number in place, but I will have a string. So from these two graphs, we can see the one is having a numeric prediction, the other is having a string prediction, or you can have a textual prediction. So the relationship, we get a straight line, and here in classification we get a crooked line or S-shaped graph. We can say in regression it's the relationship is linear. Okay, but in a classification it is non-linear we are going to get. So let me explain what is a linear and a non-linear equation. In linear we can say when we have an equation y equals to mx plus c, we have a linear equation because the maximum degree here of x is 1. It is a linear relationship. That's why we get a straight line. For any value of x, we predict y. So that is what an equation is all about. That is what regression is all about. So this is main job of a regression, where we are dealing with numbers. So this is our target variable and this is your input, and no matter what happens, we are going to get a straight line, because and the degree of the equation is going to be 1. But when we are talking about a classification problem, the relationship is not going to be linear. So what do you mean by that? It means that equation is going to be like this. So this is what a non-linear equation will look like. Y equals to mx plus cx square plus e. Because it is not linear, regression model build a line which best fits this data. So a straight line will be covering most of the data points in between. But when we look at the classification problem, we can see like a straight line won't be covering maximum of the points. You can have a crooked line which will be covering yes majority of the points, but yes, a straight line will never solve your purpose. So that is why you have a crooked line. The more degrees that you put in, the more curve your line is going to take. So the degree should be greater than 1, and you never know how many degrees are going to be in that non-linear equation, because it might be 2 degrees, 3 degrees. It's all about the maximum number of data points it is going to touch. And industry, if I talk about different case studies and different problem statements, solving a regression equation, it's much easier compared to solving a classification problem. And in terms of the problem statement, you'll find lots of cases, lots of use cases, lots of problem statements where we are dealing with classification problem instead of a regression problem. Now let us talk about some of the business solutions using data modeling using machine learning. So there is image recognition, email spam filtering, text and speech recognition, medical diagnosis, online fraud, search engine, traffic prediction, automated translation. So you name anything and there is a data model at the back end which is doing these things. Let me talk about a little bit about all these solutions which you are getting. Okay, when I am talking about fraud detection, what happens in a fraud detection is it's at the back end. I have got historical data. I have, like for example, 1,000 transactions. Out of 1,000 transactions, there might be a case there are 1 or 2 transactions which are fraud. Okay, so I will take that data and I will take it as an input data, and I will train my model using machine learning. And so that whenever a new data is coming, if I will sense like if any characteristics are present of a fraud detection, I will say this is the one that is causing fraud, and based on that a fraud detection will work. So at the back end, a customer is whenever the transaction is happening, the customer gets to see a pop-up. Okay, this is a fraud detection, but at the back end there is a complete data model which is running at the back end. So let's talk about image recognition. The best example of our image recognition is your smartphones. So whenever you have your mobile phones where the screen lock is your face. Suppose if your someone else's face is there, your screen doesn't unlock itself. So how that is happening? That is again a machine learning is there in place in your smartphone. So your machine has been trained, or your model has been trained in such a way, like based on your face it will open up, and if any other face comes in, it will not open up. So that is again at the back end. The machine learning model is at the back end. Email or spam filtering. So this is something which you get to deal with each and every day, where you get different kinds of mails in your inbox. Some of it are coming in your inbox, some goes into the junk box. So how this can be done? This is done using if you are using a Gmail, it automatically classifies some are in the inbox, and most which are not or looks like a fake or junk mail, they are moved to the junk mailbox. So how this is happening? This happens again using machine learning. Whenever if you look at any spam mail, you'll get the feel, you'll get the content, you'll get this from the subject itself. You will understand whether it's a mail is a spam or not. So these are some of the characteristics which has been put into the system. These are the subject lines which based on which your mail is going to be a fraud and not a fraud. This is again training data which has been put in, and based on that it works. At the back end is again data model is there. Text and speech recognition. This is again one of the interesting things of machine learning. Amazon Echo is one of the things which is a practical example of this thing, text and speech recognition. So at the back end is again a machine learning data model is there, where it is recognizing the text which you are saying, or the speech which you are saying, or the text which you are typing. Based on that, it is the understanding, it is matching, and based on that it is taking results. Search engine results. Whenever you are searching anything, you see automatically based on your location and based on the recent searches you have done, it gives you the best search result which you are looking for. How this is happening? This is again the browser maintains your history. Okay, the browser, I mean Google, maintains your history, and based on that information it will give you the best possible match which you are looking for. That is again back end. I am talking about machine learning. Virtual personal assistant, automated translation, traffic prediction. Again, these are at the back end. Completely machine learning models are there in place, and the front end it gives you a solution. So name anything, any business solution, data modeling is at the back end doing that job for you. Medical diagnosis and the pharma industry or the medical industry, yes, machine learning is used a lot, where based on their drugs they find out what's the mortality rate, whether this person is going to survive or not. Name anything. You cannot think of any industry, you cannot think of any solution where machine learning is not used. Be it anything, machine learning is only there for the back end, which is doing all these pre-processing and which is creating a solution for you, and machine learning is at the back end of the data models. So name anything and there machine learning is there. So data modeling can be used each and every aspect or your day-to-day life where data modeling is used. There are different data types which are available in Python, like numeric, dictionary, boolean, set, and sequence type, which are used in the Python environment. And when I'm talking about numeric, it has got integer, float, and complex numbers. In integer, I mean it doesn't have any decimal numbers or fractional part. It can be 1, 2, 3, or it can be those whole numbers I am talking about. By float, I mean it has got decimal part in that, like 2.476. okay, so these are all float numbers. When I'm talking about complex numbers, I can talk about exponential numbers, 1.6 e to the power of 70. So all these numbers are termed as complex numbers. When I'm talking a boolean, these are also called dichotomous variables. These have got just two. These are all computer data types which can take any values between 0 and 1. They either can take 0 or 1. This is how your log data looks like. Will take boolean 0 and 1. Okay, in sequence type you have tuple, you have got list, and you have strings. By strings you mean you have textual data. So if you look at the string, it's going to be textual data like hello world. When I'm talking about the integer, you have a whole number. Float will have a decimal. Complex, as I told you, will have the exponential part. When I'm talking about a list can be of any form. It can be, you have to remember it will be under the box brackets. Anything which is inside the box bracket we call the list. See, these are the data types which goes in Python. When I'm talking about tuple, you should have a curved brackets in place. So and range can be like 0 to 2 or 6 or anything. When I'm talking about dictionary, yes, in dictionary you have a token and you have the key. Okay, so this like name is John, age is 26, sex equals to male. So these are some dictionaries that based on that you are going to define. You have got curved bracket for dictionary, and again for set you have again curved brackets, but yes, we do not have the key and the token here in that. Okay, so these are some of the data types which we have in the Python environment.